display for year-round production, flower trial gardens, and container gardens. New this year is a weather station that provides data for our horticultural education and research programs. In Henry Shaw's time, the area on the left was a working farm. It is now a fruit garden with strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, and now, not of native to this climate, kiwi. Those white boxes on your left contain a colony of relatively docile Italian honeybees. They were introduced for educational purposes and to enhance pollination at the garden. On your right is a bird garden, which contains plants such as coneflowers, roses of Sharon, and crab apples. They are intended to attract and provide shelter for the birds. On your left is the brick entrance to the Blanky Boxwood Garden. This is a very formal garden that contains meticulously pruned boxwood edges and fascinating leaping jets of water. On your right, you will see a meadow and prairie garden. Areas like this offer a more sustainable alternative for native plants that require less water and low maintenance. They are also an ideal habitat for birds and butterflies. And if you enjoy butterflies, we encourage you to visit our butterfly house 18 miles west of here. Another division of the garden, 35 miles west, is the Shaw Nature Reserve. It's 2,500 acres in which visitors can experience the natural beauty of the region and learn how to preserve it. The sculpture on your left is entitled Stubbs Supper by the artist Frank Stella. It is inspired by the Herman Melville classic Moby Dick. And down the path on your right, out of view, is the George Washington Carver Garden, a tribute to that legendary scientist who was born in Diamond Grove, Missouri. Before we arrive at our second stop, we'll pause here by our 14-acre Japanese garden, Seiwain, the garden of pure, clear harmony and peace. It was designed by Professor Koichi Kawana, dedicated in 1977 as one of the largest and finest of its kind in North America. This granite boat basin on your right symbolizes the gods of good fortune. The small bed of rocks below it represents the sea, and the large gray stones denote the Japanese island. The Japanese maple ahead and on the left of the basin, it's kind of the yellowish-green one, was planted and dedicated by the Emperor and Empress of Japan. Beyond the stones in the center of the 4-acre lake is a curved redwood bridge called Takabashi, or Drum Bridge, which leads to Tea House Island, an authentic Japanese tea house open to visitors during our annual Japanese festival. Japanese gardens are dedicated to be beautiful in all seasons, and their moods and tone change constantly. Spring is the time for cherry blossoms, flowering pears, quince, peonies, and azaleas. Even in winter, snow is considered a flower in this garden. In fact, Seiwain was designed to be at its most scenic just after a snowfall. Japan is an island nation, so water is always present in a Japanese garden, either physically or symbolically, in the form of red gravel beds to represent ocean waves. Ahead is a boulder waterfall, Seiga Nataki, which evokes the sounds of a mountain cascade as it flows over 3 giant steps that represent heaven, humanity, and earth. Let's listen as we go across. Alright, we have now arrived at our second stop. You have the opportunity to either walk through the Japanese garden or our upcoming English woodland garden. Just know the trams stop here every 60 minutes. Would anyone like to get off and explore? If so, please exit to your left. Looks like we are all staying aboard, so please stay seated and we'll begin moving again. On the left is a grove of ginkgo trees planted in 1969. Here you get a close-up view of their distinctive butterfly-shaped leaves. As we pass the small stone wall, we are entering the English woodland garden. This is a 3-acre informal shade garden. Here there are 3 vegetation layers, an upper canopy of trees, such as oaks, maples, ashes, and tulip trees, a middle layer of shrubs such as azaleas, rhododendrons, and hydrangeas, and a lower layer filled with perennials and ground covers. Many visitors may not realize that there is also an unseen garden of internationally renowned research and conservation. Most of our botanists and research students are based at the Monsanto Center just 2 blocks west of here. They are involved in very important botanical research around the world, fulfilling the mission of the garden. This is also home to our library, which contains one of the world's most important collections, devoted to systematic botany, with its oldest volume published in 1474. Also located there is our herbarium, a plant specimen library, which is a cornerstone of botanical research. It has grown to over 6 million specimens and counting, with 131 new species added just last year. As we exit the English Woodland Garden, if you look to your left, you'll see a spectacular giant dogwood, a native of China and the Himalayas. And on your right is the mirror facade of the Lehman Building, and to its left is a group of metasequoias, also called dawn redwoods. They are the large trees with the knoll trunks. They are native to China and were once thought to be extinct until they were rediscovered and planted here in the middle of the 20th century. The path leads to an informal German Strassenfest and Bavarian garden. Inside the black ornamental iron fence is the herb garden maintained by the St. Louis Herb Society, and the Angel Fountain originally stood at the entrance of the 1904 World's Fair in Forest Park here in St. Louis. This majestic tree with the sweeping branches is a Scotch elm, which also dates back to the time of the World's Fair. We are now entering the Liechtenstein Victorian District, the most historic area of the garden. And as we circle here, on the left there is a bronze sculpture of Henry Shaw, which commemorates the centennial of his passing. He died of malaria in 1889 at the age of 89. Their rose-colored granite mausoleum on your left, with the green copper roof, is his final resting place. He is in a tomb beneath with the white marble sculpture for which he posed while holding his favorite flower, a rose. Now just ahead and on your left is the Cresco family Victorian garden. This type of garden was the height of fashion in the middle of the 19th century, where Henry Shaw toured in Europe. In the center of the garden is the Carlo Niccoli sculpture of Juno, which stood in 8 different locations since arriving 120 years ago. Beyond the Victorian garden is the Yellow Piper Observatory Tower, which overlooks the maze, and behind this is the Schomburg Administration Building. This was originally Henry Shaw's townhouse, which stood in downtown St. Louis, not far from where the arch is located. He left provisions in his will that the house be dismantled brick by brick and be rebuilt where it stands today. This is Tower Grove House, Henry Shaw's Victorian country home, which opened to visitors Wednesday through Sunday from 10 to 4. It was built in 1849 and contains furniture and artifacts from Shaw's time. Entry into the house is included with your garden admission, and we do encourage you to walk in and see its history. So if anyone would like to get off, this is the 3rd stop. Just know that if you're not getting off, we will get off and collect your tickets now, so please have them handy. Everyone else, we would hope to see you back in an hour. So exit to your left only.
You don't want to get off, do you?
He did.
Well, it's back, because it might not get right back.
I was trying to figure out where it was.
Which way?
Yeah.
It doesn't see like more.
This might be out in the middle of nowhere.
They're enjoying that too. And a lot of things you've never seen before.
You got that right.
All right, everyone, just remain seated, and as soon as Megan's ready, we'll begin moving again. So we're going to circle back around here, and once we get back around where everyone can see, just look up so you can get a good view of the tall tower on top of Henry Shaw's country home.
Pretty high.
During his time, this area was a prairie with the only trees present a grove of sassafras, such as the ones that are, I guess, on the left. That tower and the trees it overlooked could be seen for miles around, and that view prompted this area to be called Tower Grove, a destination that continues to the present day. These trees and these sassafras trees are direct descendants of those that grew in Shaw's time. The architect George Burnett designed most of Henry Shaw's buildings, including the museum building on your right. It was built in 1859, the same year the garden opened to the public, and it originally housed the library and herbarium. The garden is currently raising funds to renovate this historic building and to reopen it as an exhibit and event venue. Coming up on both the left and right are two of our 4 champion trees. The Missouri State Champion is on the left with a series of small trunks called a possum paw. And the large national champion on your right is a white basswood, which is over 100 feet tall with an 80-foot spread. Champion trees are determined by height, trunk circumference, and crown spread. Ahead on your right is the Cleveland Avenue Gatehouse, constructed in 1895. It was once home to various garden employees, but is now unoccupied and closed to the public. Alongside the house is a stand of yellow groove bamboo. This grows so rapidly that it's periodically thinned and donated to the zoo to feed some of the animals. The white limestone structure on your left was first intended to be Henry Shaw's mausoleum. He decided against that because he did not feel the limestone would hold up over time. Instead, he placed a marble structure called Victory inside, representing victory of science over ignorance. That eye-catching tree behind it with the branches that sweep the ground is an Amur cork tree. The beds along this path make up the Jenkins daylily, where over 1,800 different varieties grow. The daylily is an easy-to-grow hardy perennial that most of its species coming from Asia. The botanical name for the daylily is Hemerocallis, a Greek term meaning beauty for a day because its blossoms last for only one day or evening. Coming up on your left is this large eastern white pine, and it at full maturity can reach a height of 200 feet. The wall on your right is part of the original garden and was constructed in 1856. A grant from the National Park Service is enabling the preservation and restoration of the wall to take place. Each stone is carefully being removed and cataloged. A new foundation laid and stones will be reinstalled using permeable mortar. On your left is a horse chestnut tree, which features large white flowers that bloomed already in the springtime. And following this is a sweet gum tree. Both of these features medicinal properties as described on their sign. The bronze sculpture on your right is Unicorn Spirit by John Edgar Goodman. And mostly on your left is the Goodman Iris Garden. The iris is one of the oldest cultivated plants and is very popular with collectors. Irises normally bloom in the month of May, and in over 1,300 varieties are found here. Every color appears except for true scarlet, which has yet to be hybridized. And as you can see, most of our irises are gone for now. On your right is the Sphinx Pavilion, formerly known as the Florida Gatehouse. It was built in 1858 and served as the garden's main entrance until Ridgeway Visitor Center was opened in 1982. It is now used for meetings and luncheons and can be rented for receptions and parties. On Sundays from April through October, visitors can enjoy Cafe Flora at brunch served from 10 to 2. We're now turning onto the central axis of the garden. These 3 reflecting pools were part of the original design to display our world-famous water lily collection, but were not added until 1917. The 7 sculptures that you see were designed by a Swedish artist called Millis, whose work is also on display across from Union Station in downtown St. Louis. During warm weather, these pools contain tropical water lilies, and in the circular pool, giant Victoria water lilies who had started at a diameter of 6 inches across grow to over 3 feet. You can get smaller adults can stand on those. There will also be colorful glass Walla Walla onions by the artist Del Chihuly. Ahead is the Climatron. It's that big geodesic dome, built in 1960 to enclose our version of a tropical rainforest. The name Climatron refers to its computerized climate control system that maintains temperatures of up to 85 degrees during the day, 64 degrees at night, with the humidity averaging 85%. Inside is a tropical rainforest with more than 2,000 different plants. 25% of all prescription medicines are derived from plants, and inside the Climatron are 13 species of tropical plants used just for that purpose. The tall trees that line both sides of the central axis are bald cypress. This is a deciduous conifer, which means that it both loses its needles and bears cones. It's an ancient species of tree related to the redwoods, and these were planted in the 1920s. So once we get back up to this path, just look down on your right, and then you'll see a red brick building. That is the Linnean House, built in 1882. It is the oldest continuously operating greenhouse west of the Mississippi River, and it's home to our potted cacti plants, citrus plants, and our large collection of camellias that bloom in the winter. Within the white circular arbor, is the Gladney Rose Garden, the older, more classically designed of our two rose gardens, and flanking on the trellises are Dale Chihuly sculptures representing sunrise and sunset. We do encourage you to take a few minutes during your visit or walk over to the Ottoman Garden and the Sensory Garden. They're both to the right of the Linnean House. This will be our final stop, everyone, at the Climatron. It's not a reporting stop, but it's a great place to begin walking through the garden on your own. We're about a half block away from the entrance. There's quite a bit to see in this area. The rest of you may go back to the tram shelter with us if you like.
Yeah. My knees are saying, sit. Don't walk. Sit. Boy, look at those pretty trees.
They do got a handicap ramp up there. When I first called, you let it down and let people walk there.
Oh.
Well, what are you saying, Penny?
I love it. Wish I lived here.
You should be a membership and come every day.
Oh, I'd have to move up here.
Once a week.
Yeah, I'd have to move up here to come every day.
Too bad we couldn't come here and make fun. It would be me to think of that, huh?
Yeah, really. You're so naughty.
All right, if everyone is ready, we can start moving. So after we complete this turn, if everyone will look to your right past the conifer garden, and you'll see the Heckman and Samuel's bug garden. Over 1,000 different variety of plants grow from bulb flowers here 8 months out of the year, including nationally recognized collections of daffodils and lilies. Each year, the garden plants up to 100,000 bulbs throughout its display.
A lot of bulbs.
The garden staff of nearly 500 includes 55 horticulturalists who maintain the grounds, conservatories, and greenhouses. We are also very fortunate to have over 1,800 volunteers who donate their time and energy in many capacities, both indoors and out. A tremendous amount of support also comes from over 40,000 members who receive many benefits, including general admission, invitations to special events, and discounts on classes and gift shop merchandise. Information on becoming a member or volunteer is available on the lower level of the Visitor Center. Please accept our sincere appreciation to those of you who are already members or volunteers. And on behalf of myself and our driver, Megan, we thank you, everyone, for visiting the garden and taking this visit with us today. Please remember to gather your belongings, and when it's safe, exit to the left only. We hope you have a great day, everyone.